Heart and Soul miniseries, Adventurelands, Part 26. When I woke up, I had no idea how long I'd been out, or where I even was this time. I wasn't in my room. Instead, I was in an unfamiliar room that was all white. I could hear lots of gentle beeping from far away. A moment or two after I opened my eyes, a nurse appeared in front of my vision. "Oh, you're finally awake. I'll tell the doctor and the headmaster right away." Then she quickly ran off, and I could hear a small commotion. In no time, the doctor showed up in her clean white lab coat, and she promptly began to ask me a lot of questions. "Can you tell me your name and today's date?" "My name is Blank Holy, Beehole for short, and today is Wednesday, the 3rd of Nixtober." "Exactly. So you may be able to imagine why I'm so anxious to get out of here. Duality Day is my favorite time of the year." She kept asking questions that I honestly did not remember. After a little while, I couldn't even answer anymore, and I think I fell asleep mid-answer. When I woke up again, still in the strange room, it was a lot darker and quieter now. After half a moment, I noticed her. She was sitting in the center of the darkness. It was my mom. She was just sitting in a chair, not making a noise, barely even moving an inch as she slept. I was very surprised she'd stayed with me so long. Ever since she fought the reoccurring demon, she'd become so detached. It was kind of moving to think that she'd stayed here so long just for me. But the intense aura of gross evil that just kept squirming around her was freaking terrifying. After staring at her for a moment, I cleared my throat and loudly said, "Good morning, Mom." She stirred slowly, then loudly demanded, "What were you doing out that far from campus?" I I wanted to go for a walk. I don't really remember much after that. Where am I? How did I get here?" "We were just lucky that Mr. Peralta happened to hear you fighting that creature again. If he hadn't hurried to find you, you would have passed out alone in the woods. As defenseless as you were, anything could have happened to you like that. I'd like to think you wouldn't let all my hard work raising you go to waste for no real freaking reason." She sounded sincere, but somehow, at the same time, it sounded like she didn't really care about me at all. I sighed. Now that I was finally living on my own, I did my best to make it clear I did not want or need any unsolicited advice as I said, "Yes, Mom." She glared hard at me for a long couple of moments before she got up, more huffily than I think she needed to, and she stormed out. I was still so tired that almost as soon as she was gone, I was out cold again. When I woke up again, sometime later, I couldn't even guess how long it might have been this time. The sun was still down, but I was finally starting to feel awake. I really looked around this strange room for the first time. It was clearly a hospital room. I'd never been in a room like this before, but I'd seen a lot of them in plays on Skyer programs. I noticed that there was a needle in my arm. It was attached to a tube that went up to a bag holding some kind of gently glowing liquid of some kind. I assumed it was some kind of restoration potion. I took a deep breath in through my nose, letting it out slowly through my mouth in an attempt to help clear my mind. When I let myself calm down and focus, I was finally able to remember what had happened when the demon attacked. I was a little terrified of the answer, but finally began to notice what had been different whenever I had managed to cast a spell. I hadn't been envisioning anything. I just needed that magic to work, and I really didn't care about its form or function. The way the attack had actually worked was so different from what I'd expected that it surprised the life out of me the first time. But after I'd seen it work, I tried to copy what I'd seen happening, and still got nothing when I did envision it. The only strange conclusion I could reach was to not envision anything as I tried to cast. It seemed very dangerous. With no way to direct the shape of the spell, I had no idea what would actually happen whenever I tried to use magic. However, that was not about to stop me, of course. I am still a teenager. I was already getting anxious to try moving in different ways as I cast, to see if that changed the effect. I couldn't wait to get up and try it on the dummies at the training field. The only problem now was that I was stuck in a hospital bed, and I couldn't test out my theory until I was released. Luckily, the sun was already coming up as it had luckily the sun was already coming up as it had all come back to me. I could already hear doctors arriving and greeting patients. In no time, my doctor was standing in front of me again. She was a tall brunette with intense green eyes that had a brown ring around the pupil. Hi there. My name is Dr. Beach. How are you this morning? Much better. I can actually think again. Did you enjoy your duality day? I did. Thank you for asking. And I'm glad to hear you're doing better. Now, as soon as you tell me everything that happened yesterday, I'll get your discharge papers all ready. I blanched at the idea of telling her everything that had happened. Not only was it a lot to process, but telling anyone seemed more than a little dangerous in and of itself. Who knows what people might think of undirected magic?